You ever get that gut feeling that something big's about to go down? Yeah, that's the vibe in Miami right now, and it's not because of the heat. There's a star speaking from the heart, a head coach on the edge, moves on the field, that have this fan base split right down the middle. The locker room's tense, the energy's wild, and the question everyone's asking is simple. Is the Dolphins' dream still alive, or are we watching a storm that's about to hit hard? You won't believe what's happening today. So grab a seat, drop a like, and let's dive in. Tua Tagovailoa's face after the final whistle said it all. Frustration, exhaustion, and that quiet fire of a guy who still believes when everything else seems to be falling apart. Losing 27-24 to the Carolina Panthers hit like a punch to the gut, especially since Miami looked in control for most of the afternoon. But what made it worse was that this came right after Tyreek Hill's season-ending ACL injury. That loss cut deep, and its impact goes way beyond the field. What stood out most was Tua's attitude. He didn't dodge questions or make excuses. He looked right into the camera and said, "We gotta figure this out, Nan. We gotta figure this out now." No fluff, no That's a wake-up call from a leader who knows the stakes. This isn't just about saving a season. It's about saving the identity of a team that promised to be different. And honestly, Tua did his part. He went 27 of 36, threw for 256 yards, and tossed 3 touchdowns. Solid numbers for a QB trying to hold it all together. But football isn't just stats. It's about timing, heart, and how you respond when the pressure hits. That's where Miami fell apart. Up 17-10 at halftime, the Hard Rock was electric. Fans could feel it. This was supposed to be the turning point. But when the third quarter started, the same old story played out. The defense folded again. The Panthers ran right through them. Miami lost its rhythm. The lead slipped away, while the offense tried desperately to keep things together. Devin Akane did what he could, catching short passes and punching in a touchdown. But the ground game was non-existent, just 16 yards on 10 carries. Once again, the air attack carried the load. Jalen Waddle was the man, pulling in 6 catches for 110 yards and a score. Darren Waller added another touchdown with 5 grabs. But at the end of the day, those numbers felt empty. The whole vibe now is frustration mixed with urgency. Fans are torn between believing this team can bounce back and fearing it's stuck in the same old loop. And while Tua is doing everything he can to keep the locker room focused, next week's matchup against the Chargers feels like a do-or-die moment. Miami's pride is on the line. And if there's one thing Tua made clear, it's that he's not letting this team go down without a fight. But will words be enough when that clock starts ticking again? Because right now, the Dolphins need more than motivation, they need action. That 2-7-2-4. Final score doesn't tell the full story. When Miami jumped out to a 17-point lead, it looked like the hangover from last week's loss was gone. The crowd was roaring, fins up. Echoed across the stadium, and Mike McDaniel seemed cool and confident. But then, like a bad dream you can't shake, everything unraveled. What started with energy and swagger ended in confusion and silence. Tua had control early. 2 quick touchdown passes, one to Akayan. 1-2 Waller had the offense humming like vintage Miami. But then Bryce Young, still trying to prove himself in the league, started finding holes in a defense that looked lost and gassed. What followed was a slow-motion collapse. 2 field goals, then a soft touchdown drive where Miami's defense looked like it had given up. McDaniel tried to rally the guys, and that deep 46-yard bomb to Waddle lit up the crowd again. But just as fast, it faded. With only minutes left, the defense gave up an 83-yard drive in 8 plays. And when the clock hit 0, there was just silence. A head coach staring at the ground and a fan base asking the same question. How did this happen again? After the game, McDaniel didn't dodge criticism, but what he said hit differently. Losses are tough, but who cares? Nobody cares about our feelings. It hurts, but it should. That honesty was raw, but for some fans, it sounded more like defeat than accountability. The numbers paint an ugly picture. Miami gave up 239 rushing yards, 206 to a single back. Rico Dowdle, who ran through the defense like it was a scrimmage, 9 penalties, 64 yards lost, and a defense that looked completely out of sync. McDaniel took the blame, saying he needs to reorganize the team's mindset and structure. But patience is running thin. Social media exploded after the game. Some fans begged for calm, others called for his firing. 2 years ago, McDaniel was the creative genius who brought hope and swagger to Miami. Now, people are questioning his instincts, saying he's losing control when the team needs him most. It's a harsh reality check. That exciting, confident team from the past few seasons feels like a memory now. And while Adam Schefter reported that the front office isn't planning to fire him just yet, the pressure is suffocating. A couple more losses, and it might be game over. And just when it felt like things couldn't get worse, what happened next took it to another level. If there were any doubts about McDaniel's future, this loss to the Panthers erased them. Around the league, the feeling is that his time as the Dolphins head coach is already over. The atmosphere inside the facility is heavy, and it's clear there's no path forward with him leading this team. Yesterday's game was basically a highlight reel of everything that's gone wrong under his watch. Bad clock management, no control at the line, long stretches where the offense disappears. And instead of improving with experience, the same issues keep popping up. Then came the call that broke everyone. Miami was down by 3. Just over a minute left. 4th down, deep in their own territory. The offense was ready to take a shot. But McDaniel punted. He punted. Gave the ball back to a defense that had been gashed all game. You already know what happened. The defense couldn't stop a thing. The clock ran out and the game was over. That one decision felt like his goodbye moment. A coach who lost his nerve, his instincts, and maybe the locker room too. Sure, the odds of converting a 4th and 17 from your own 15 are slim. But it wasn't about math. It was about guts, leadership, and trust. Punting told everyone, players, fans, in the entire city that he didn't believe anymore. This wasn't a one-off mistake. The team's 1-4, and the spark is gone. Owner Stephen Ross can fire him whenever he wants. Whether it's now or at season's end, the writing's on the wall. Fans summed it up perfectly online. It's not about talent, it's about instinct. And he doesn't have it, another fan wrote. With this coach, we'll never learn how to close games. This loss wasn't just another stumble. It was the breaking point of a long stretch of bad decisions that defined the end of McDaniel's era in Miami. And as the players try to stay positive, whispers around Hard Rock Stadium suggest change is already on the way. Because when a team stops believing in its leader, the outcome's already decided before kickoff. Yeah, Dolphins fans, this one hurts. But it's in moments like these that a franchise shows what it's really made of. Tua still believes, the fans are still standing. When even with McDaniel on the brink, the heart of Miami football keeps beating. Every loss has a purpose, and maybe this one will be the spark that turns everything around. Because if there's one team that knows how to rise from the ashes, it's the Miami Dolphins. So tell me, do you still believe in this comeback? Drop a like, sound off in the comments, and let your voice be heard. Miami.